senza uDaniel chapter 7 so that nawe at least uzosifundela ekhaya wazi ukuthi kwenzakalani. Khona ama notes enginawo, ama notes akhona yi5 pages. It's like lawo ma notes ayakuxelela ukuthi iwing irepresent ntoni ku prophet an angel irepresent ntoni. So before ilesson iphela ngizanipha i-email address yami, umuntu uzangisendela i-email empty athi ucela ama notes, then ngizakusendela ama notes. Ngiyavuya ukubona umama Matikinca akhona ngaphakathi. Amen. I-reason ngisho kanjalo umama Matikinca is one yabantu ababethi thina sifuna ukufunda, si ready, sifuna ukuyazi ukuthi prophecy ihamba kanjani. So le series ngeke ngifundise ngi1, mina ngisayenza nje i-start. Bakhona abantu abazoqhubeka abazonginceda ngale study lesi. So today senza uDaniel chapter 7. Bengicela nenze sure ukuthi mangifika kule mistake engizoyenza ningstop at same time. Ngizayirepeata intentionally le mistake so that isobona ukuthi sifunda sonke as ibandla. Last week ngathi le study engisenzayo ngirefera kwiBible, ngiuser iBible, ngiuser iSDA Bible commentary for Daniel chapter for Daniel ngiuser iSDA Bible commentary book number 4. Then ngiuser nencwadi zaka Ellen G. White ngapromoter eclassini ukuthi let's do ourselves a favor sithenge le ncwadi zaka Ellen G. White ezi5 bazibiza i-conflict set. Eyokuqala i-Patriarchs and Prophets, S2 i-Prophets and King, i-Great Controversy, i-Desire of Ages, i-Acts of the Apostles. If unale incwadi ezi5 iBhayibheli uliphethe lonke. I-lesson yami last week beyiku Prophets and Kings. Last week besenza uProphet and Kings chapter 40. But ngichema ngichecka this week uProphet and Kings angizange sifumane istory saka Daniel chapter 7. So advise iclass khuthaza iclass ukuthi nalo lihambe liyosifundela. Then the other things sakhumula last week senza calculation. Last week senza Revelation chapter 8 verse 1. Oti when he had opened the seventh seal, then there was silence in heaven for almost half an hour. Sakhumbula. Then say calculate leyo nto ukuthi lo almost half an hour usipha something like 7 days. Nge calculation is simple, sathi 360, which is the whole year, sathi divide on 24 days, wasinika u15, sathi 15 divided by half an hour, wasipha u7.5. So sathatha lo 7.5 senze average sathi usipha 7 days. But khona ngithethile nabo ke offline ngathi today kuzoba yenye homework deep. Today le verse elithi then there was silence in heaven for almost half an hour. Ngifuna ama students ami simkhiphe lo almost. Sifake u literal number. Let's say for example izoti when he had opened the seventh seal, maybe there was silence in heaven for 27 minutes. Ngifuna leyo answer today, but ngeke siyenze ngoku. Sayenza i-lesson yethu mayiphela. Today ngifuna singause almost, kwamanye ama versions bathi about half an hour, kwamanye ama versions bathi almost 30 minutes. But today kule class sothi masiphuma so bese explain le verse literally, not prophetically. Sahamba sonke mosne. Enye into engayithetha ngathi incwadi kaDaniel nencwadi kaRevelation, uDaniel chapter 8 lo somfunda next week, not Daniel chapter 9. Ngeke understand if ungamazi uLeviticus chapter 16 or Leviticus chapter 17. Leviticus chapter 16 or chapter 17 bathetha nge the sanctuary, i-sanctuary yaku Old Testament. So next week isobe sithetha about the animals ezaziyuzwa ku sanctuary. Today is thetha ngama funny animals. Niyabona lama animals. But next week isobe sithetha nge the lamb, sobe sithetha nge the ram. So i-prophecy ihamba kanjani. And if ungachecka i-lesson today neya last week, they're almost the same, almost similar. Last week besithetha nge gold, silver, bronze, iron, toes mixed with iron. This week is thetha ngama animals, but they represent the same thing. But khona one thing pick up esohlala kuyo kakhulu today bayibiza the little horn. But ezinye zona zisimilar. Njengoba ngithi you must be able to understand the whole Bible to interpret prophecy. You must be able to know mina ngize nge-background ka-Genesis ke for me to understand the story. Sakhumbula istory sakaNoah ne? Ungacinga ukuthi istory sakaNoah asingeni indawo kuprofessor. But ngifumanise ukuthi when it comes to counting of days, siyangena kuprofessor. Sakhumbula mos bathi uThixo wawuvala umnyango ne? Then make sewuvalile umnyango, then after 7 days yaqala imvula ne? IBhayibheli li specific lithi imvula yaqala on the 17th day of the 7th month. It's specific Genesis chapter 7 verse 11, and it's for a reason specific. The rain started on the 17th day of the 2nd month. 17th day of the 2nd month. Siyazi mos ukuthi imvula yana for 40 days and 40 nights ne? Then after that ulona uNoah wasenda a raven ne? I-raven yahamba izange ibuye. Then after that uThixo wasenda a dove. I-dove yahamba yabuya nelona ne leaf. But the time umkhumbi kaNoah umuva pha phezulu. But after 150 days, but was settled down on a mountain. I think that mountain was called Mountain Arafat, something like that. Ararat. So it's specific again iBhayibheli ukuthi on the 17th day of the 7th month. Akhona manje sengithetha the time iark seyimile ne? Mangiqala ukuthi imvula yaqala on the 17th day of the 2nd month. But after 150 days, but the ark rested on the mountains of Ararat. It was on the 17th day of the 7th month. Then between the 17th day of the 2nd month and the 17th day of the 7th month is 150 days, ne? Ibhalile. Then mawuthatha lo 150 days, divide ngobani? Ngo3, ne? Or divide ngo3. Divide ngo3, uthola 5 months. So it means imvula, it means before the ark came to rest, it took 150 days. So the reason we mention the verse, I'm trying to show you ukuthi sizoyuza i-principle year 1 day is equals to a year. Sizoyuza i-principle yokuthi a month prophetically is 30 days, ne? Ngeke siyuze le principle yokuthi khona leap year, khona 29 days, khona 31 days. So if ungacheka lo 17th of the 2nd month, no 17th of the 7th month is 5 months. In that 5 months is 150 days. So 150 days divided by 5 it nika 30 days. I understand the reasoning beka le verse le. So le verse le lizama ukusipha i-clue ukuthi a month prophetically is 30 days. Then sizobona ke futhi masiqhubeka sifunda iBhayibheli lama verse ngizandisendela ke. Numbers 14 verse 34 naye uyastress ukuthi a day is like a year. No, Ezekiel chapter 4 verse 6 ustressa the same thing. Khona verse abazalwana abathanda ukulimenshina eliku-New Testament but I'll apply ku-prophets. Siyalazi le verse elithi 1,000 days is like a year to uThixo is like a day. Prophetically, we're not going to use that verse. Le verse abaluzayo limina something thina ama verses sohamba ngawo. Sohamba ngo Numbers 14 verse 34, sohambe ngo Ezekiel chapter 4 verse 6. Sazi ukuthi this principle esime kuyo asenze any mistake. Ama calculations ethu aphuma 100%. Khona ngisendela iWhatsApp during the week angazi ubani uthe yena ama calculator uyuze u31 days. So the minute you use 31 days, ngeke ufumane i-answer right. Actually bengifuna ukuyenza nge-project but now my pictures ne siyabona top left sibona a lion ne, and that lion has got 2 wings ne. Then on the right hand side sibona a leopard ne. That leopard has got 4 heads, on top of that it's got 4 wings. Then bottom ku right one then sibona a bear ne. Siyabona le bear ukuthi emlonyeni na something ne, na something ezi3 emlonyeni ne. Then on the far left, my left, sibona bati maybe explain about it was a terrifying beast. But that beast had 10 horns. After that, but out of those 10 horns, bati yabula lama horns ay 3, but then it came up. But in funda today, so funda only 10 verses. In verse 1, iti, in the first year of Belshazzar, na yenye problem esingaba nayo ne. just nje verse 1 sakhumula na the time sifunda uDaniel chapter 2 verse 1 but in the second year of Nebuchadnezzar ne safumanisa ukuthi labafana the three boys they were already there for 3 years. So ungafumana nje izinto ngazathi azikho right. Le verse lelithi in the first year of Belshazzar ne king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Now problem number 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon. So le isipha iproof ukuthi uNebuchadnezzar he was no more ne beyengasekho. Khona manje who is the king? The king is Belshazzar. But now check out chapter 7. If umfundile chapter 6, chapter 6 uBelshazzar uyasweleka. But chapter 7 uyavela chapter 7 verse 1. Then abantu bathi ne iBhayibheli yazicontradict kanti iBhayibheli is contradict. So actually uDaniel chapter 7 lama verse awahambi chronologically. Into kumele sibe awe ngayo. uDaniel chapter 7 uze actually it means uDaniel chapter 6 sifumana istory sika Belshazzar samkhumula mos uBelshazzar ne uBelshazzar lo kwabhala amazwi wathi mene thekela uFarsin. But you have again with chapter 7. So that's why ngithi ayihambi chronologically. Naye into kumele sibe awe ngayo. Owokuqala salazi igama lika Daniel mos eBabylon no boku Belteshazzar ne. The king yena uBelshazzar. Mafunda ku Isaiah chapter 46 verse 1 ithi Bel and Nebo they were the gods of those countries. So it means uBel is a god. Then bati Belshazzar. uDaniel naye bewubani bewuBelteshazzar. uNebuchadnezzar bewuNebukadnezar. So that's why ngithi sometimes for laba bangakachati ke mini Old Testament ngithandela leyo nto inamagama amnandi khona amagama laphana kuLeviticus chapter 10 khona uNadab noAbihu. Amagama amnandi amagama ongabiza abantwana bakho ngawo Nadab noAbihu. So the minute ufundi Old Testament ila ufumana khona information eninzi ila ufumana khona amavesi ila ufumana khona amagama because abanye abantu baze babe stranded babiza abantwana babo ngamagama uthi please call. But if it's fumana amagama aphuma from the Bible fumana amagama are rich ane amagama ana something a positive but don't use le gama lika Bel ngene abo bell bottom ne sabona uBel uhamba kanjani singayuza uBelshazzar singayuza uBelteshazzar singayuzi abo Nebo mele siyuze amagama esazi ukuthi aletha something a positive for abantwana bethu ne uverse 1 lo but uDaniel but he had a dream na into emnandi ngoDaniel angithi kuDaniel chapter 2 who had a dream Nebuchadnezzar ne kuDaniel chapter 7 who's having a dream uDaniel chapter 2 uNebuchadnezzar wayilibala idream yakhe. Ngasho ngathi sometimes khona abantwana siyakhula uvuke ubemdala uthi mina when I grow up I want to be a doctor, I want to be this, I want to be that, but idream yakho ilahleke endleleni. But idream kaDaniel iyaqhubeka. Ngizafunda uverse 2 uthi Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night. So most of the time ama vision abasebusuku ne mawulela I think le vision wayifumana ebusuku. But nokubona abantu bathi ubona ivision meaning bene question mark but Daniel he saw a vision when he saw a vision by night and behold the four winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. But the four what? The four winds of heaven. Khona manje la ku verse 2 ngizo try to explain ukuthi lama winds amina ntoni. Maya laphana ku Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7 uThixo must hold those four winds. Salazi lo verse lelo. uThixo mele abambele imimoya because bathi imimoya actually what it means. But it means symbolically it denotes strife, political commotion and war. So kusho ukuthi le kingdom yokuqala okuyiBabylon lega Nebuchadnezzar siyabona ukuthi la iphuma khona iphuma in a political environment iphuma la kuliwa khona iphuma la khona istrife reason le verse leli niza understand kakuhle mawusefunda uRevelation 13 verse 1 to verse 18 Revelation 13 verse 1 to verse 10 uthetha nge the first beast that beast abathetha ngayo bathi that beast came out of the sea. Sea apha yamention again, but the sea, it represents multitudes. It represents abantu abaninzi. Then the second beast mawuthetha ngayo laphana ku Revelation chapter 13 from verse 11 to verse 18 le ethetha nge666. It's that beast, it came out of the land. So what does, if the sea means a populated area, abantu abaninzi, it means the land will mean abantu abafew, ne? Isn't it? So lokhu sijamba sale sibuya. Sakhumbula Moses siyazi Moses ukuthi makuthethwa nga the second beast ka Revelation chapter 13. Usually abantu abaningi bathi nekuthethwa nge-USA zonke lezi zinto, but ngono siye kancinci le. So bathi verse 3 uthi, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea. So it means those 4 beasts, they came out from a populated area. One diverse, one from another. Lama beasts azange aphume ngexesha eli-1. Alandelana, but they were diverse from one another. Into emnandi ke ngoDaniel, uDaniel uvele afake something then asiphendule ngokwakhe. Sizophendula nje quick. Sivile masu verse 3 ne, uthi 4 great beasts. Sizothetha ngalama beasts ayi-4. 4 great beasts came out from the sea, from the populated area. Then ke make pendula uDaniel, that same Daniel chapter 17, nje for the sake of ixesha. What are those beasts? Daniel chapter 7 verse 17, if check eBhayibhelini lakho uthi, these great beasts which are 4 are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. So says na answer ka verse 3 ne. What are these 4 beasts? But they are kings which shall arise out of the earth. Sakhumbula mos last week sifundile ngalama, last week sifunde ngegold, safunda ngesilver, safunda ngebronze, safunda ngeiron, safunda ngeiron mixed with clay ne. Siye sathi igold irepresenta iBabylon, sathi isilver irepresenta iMedo-Persia, sathi bronze irepresenta iGreece, sathi iron irepresenta iRome, sathi those 10 toes which are mixed with iron, they represent the 10 kingdoms of Rome. So asiqaleni ngoku ngale le first beast, sibona ukuthi who is this first beast? Ithi mayiqala verse 4 uthi, the first was like a lion. Now on my top right or top left kuni. The first was like a lion. It had wings of an eagle. I watched until its wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground so that it stood on 2 feet like a human being, and the mind of a human was given unto it. So he cut her into pieces, verse 4. But the first one was like a lion. Actually, prophetically, but a lion, it means strength. It represents strength. So it means this beast, it was powerful, but it had wings of an eagle. So but ama wings, they represent swiftness. It's like speed. But ibani chekan go, yabona le beast yokuqala, but it has 2 wings, ne? Le beast has 3, it has 4 wings and 4 heads. So it means the third beast, when it comes to speed, when it comes to swiftness, it's faster than the first beast, because the first one in a 2, ne? The third one in a 4. So obvious, it means the third one is more faster than the first one. Uti I watched till its wings were torn apart, were torn off. So it means that beast, but it was strong and strong. But after some time, but the armor wings were torn. So when the wings are torn, it means it doesn't have speed much. I saw it fly, and it was lifted from the ground until it stood at the feet like a human being. But from that strength of a lion to his strength as a human being, because if you compare when a lion is strong, ne? And the mind of a human was given into it to eat. So it means as I sabane power, then appeal. Then my kubega. Verse 5. Says verse 5. Verse 5 uti, and there before me was a second beast. Sfundile nge first beast. Ne? What was the first beast? The first beast is a lion. It had how many wings? It had 2 wings. Last week Satan the head of gold, which represented Babylon. Ne? So if the head of gold was Babylon, and this lion was Babylon, Sati last week masteta nge silver. Sati is silver represents Antoni Medo-Persia. So it means possibly this second beast, second beast, ne? possibly this second beast, okuyi-Medo-Persia, yiyo lesothetha ngayo. But and there before me was a beast. Check on the beast le ukuthi kule picture le ayimanga kakuhle. But mabe ichaza eBhayibhelini but the other side was upper than the other side. If you explain it right. So it on top of that, but that beast, it had how many ribs? 3 ribs, ne? But le beast benama ribs ayingakho emlonyeni, 3 ribs. Angazi lesi story ukuthi ngasithethe ukuthi si important ukuthi ngisithethe. But lesi ngizasithetha one day kuyi health and temperance message. Story sama ribs. But this beast, which is a bear, but being among us straight, then on top of that, but it had 3 ribs emlonyeni wayo. Saiva leopard. So actually, but this one represents Medo-Persia. So but it was cruel, but it devoured ngalamazinyo aya, but yayibulala yayingancengi. So but lama 3 ribs ngabe represent Antoni, but ama 3 countries our conquerishwa iMedo-Persia, but kwabayi Babylon. Angithi Babylon says after Medo-Persia kwabayi Babylon. But the first country by conquerishwa, it was Babylon. The second country it was Lydia, and the last one it was Egypt. Khona manje ngisafunda verse by verse. After that sisazongena more into details. After that I looked, and there before me, with the third beast, ne brother 40. After that I looked, and there before me was another beast, but that one looked like a leopard. Kulaba baqhela ukuya emazoo, singa understand ukuthi yipi animal fast, bear or leopard. Leopard, ne? Leopard fast, faster than Usain Bolt, 100 meters. So, but that beast, so ile beast, but which looked like a leopard, but and on its back, it had 4 wings like those of a bird. So it means this one was fast. But this beast had also 4 heads, and it was given authority to rule. Ngike ngafunda kancinci incwadi kaAlexander the Great. But to Alexander the Great, but he was young, he was clever, but organizer for war, but he would organize in such a way that they win those wars. But he says most to Alexander the Great wabulawa intoni. Wabulawa utshwala. Umuntu waye strong. That's why sometimes sithi masifunda laphana ku baptismal class, ngithi class moderate drinking is the school of drunkards. You'll start small, no, just to be tipsy, just to be tipsy. But after 5 years, it will be a different story. So, Alexander the Great, he was wise, he was clever, but wabulawa utshwala at a very young age. Then what mayesebule utshwala, but the kingdom yakhe was divided into 4. But he had divided into, but he had Ptolemy, no Cassander, no Lysimachus, no Seleucus. Lama gama ngizangisendela if ufuna if ngizakunika email address yami. Then ke na ibeast esohlala kuyo. Ibeast number bani? Beast number 4. Sesijampela ku number 4. Na ke le beast ithi, after that in my vision at night unto Daniel I looked, and there before me a great, terrifying and frightening and very powerful, but beast, but it had large iron teeth. It crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. Sabona le beast powerful njani. Le beast, but it devoured whatever was left, but beyibulala. But it was different from all the former beasts. On top of that, but this beast had how many horns? It had 10 horns, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. But counter right. Sakumula sifunda last week, last kingdom, the kingdom of the toes, ne? But the toes were mixture of what? Iron and clay. Ne? Sakumula ukuthi wakhona ama 10 kingdoms, ne? Ngawa count nje kancinci lawo ma kingdoms. One of them, the Ostrogoths, the Herulis, the Vandals, ilawo ma 10 kingdoms awayekhona. But check ngoku. lama beast, le beast layers 4, but into enzakalayo, but in those 10 horns, but a little horn came out, ne? But that little horn, it subdued the other 3 horns. So it means if it subdued the other 3 horns, so how many horns? 7, ne? Plus what? Plus 1, ne? Because but a little horn came out among the 10 horns, but that horn, it subdued the other 3. Mabe seyichaza kakuhle bathi lama 10 kingdoms were khona, but they were barbaric nations. So was ama-barbarians. Ama-barbarians, into bebeyithetha nje, they're talking about fighting, but cruel, vulgar language, they were always fighting, but those kingdoms were like that. So, but there were only 3 kingdoms, but lama 3 kingdoms wana, ayine problem kancane about this little horn. Siyabona ukuthi le kingdom le yase Rome, I rule from 168 BC. Nesakhumula sithetha ngo BC last week. Then I rule from 168 BC until 476 AD. Siyakhumula mos iminyaka beyehla ne. Nakhumula nginibuza question ukuthi kwenzakala ntoni mabefika ku 1 BC? From 1 BC did it jump to 1 AD or did it go to 0 then jump to 1 AD? Question enganibuza yona last week and nganixelela ngathi if siyam jump nje lo 0 sizoba sengxakini enkulu. Ngisayibuza again the question, I think ngayifumana answer last week. Siyakhumula mos ukuthi iminyaka iyayehla ne. Siyabona le Rome it started to rule from BC. Isarula nango AD from which year? 168 BC. So now a question, 5 BC, 4 BC, 3 BC, 2 BC, 1 BC. Then the question, do you think after 1 BC it has 0, then you have to 1 AD, or after 1 BC it has 1 BC, you have to 1 AD? But the answer khona sayifumana next week. But ke le question enginibuza yona, if isenza a mistake kule question, I prophecy yethu it's wrong, totally wrong. So safunda kahle next week ukuthi lo 0 siyamuse or asimuse. 0 important ke. Then after that ke, but the time kuphuma that little horn, but that little horn it subdued the other 3. But lama kingdoms I3 eyabulala kwathi it was the Ostrogoths. But ama Ostrogoths bona babethi no, we don't want to believe in what you're saying. Then but the other ones were the Herulis, but the other ones were the Vandals. Actually but was starta ngama Ostrogoths, waza ngama Herulis, wakubela ngama Vandals. And in that process siyabona ukuthi si between which year? Si between 168 BC and 476 AD ne. So but during those little horns, actually that mancinga class, le little horn iphume after 476 AD or before that? J. Before 476 AD or after that? Because the aim, yeah, that little horn, it was to rule and destroy the others. Singayiphendula kahle naleyo in details next week. But into eyenzakalayo khona manje, this little beast eceda ukurise Tina amasabat, actually even if ungayifunda kuma encyclopedia ama Roma bazakuxelela ukuthi from 538 AD that little horn ila eyaqala ukurula ngayo. Ila sofumana khona today into sayidiscussa sizodiscuss prophecy ye 1260 years. Sibone ukuthi iqalaphi, sibone ukuthi iphelaphi. So bathi a little horn arisayo, but the others it was mostly about governance, politics, but this little horn for yona it was about izinto zikaThixo. Ngifuna sifunde nje kancane ngale little horn. But le little horn nazi into yazenza, ngizocounta nje zi7, but it would mix paganism with the true worship of God. The character le little horn. The other thing, but it would command people to worship it, thereby making it a religious power. Kuzoba a religious power is what you must do this. If you don't do this, then you're dying. It will persecute those who disagree with it. Ngithemba ngifunda this little horn, but this little horn, but abantu ababulawa, but there were more than 50 million. More than 50 million. I think abeke bayenza history school nikhona period ye dark ages. Sayazi period ye dark ages. Nge period ye dark ages bathi amaBhayibheli ayethathwa. Nge period ye dark ages bathi abantu bebefakwa in stadiums. Then mabefakwa in those arenas, but then kukhushwe ama-lions. Ama-lions angene stadium azidlele. But those people who were persecuted were the Christians. Abantu bengafuni ukumamela this little horn. But that little horn, sometimes they would take people, but they would cut abantu nge-guillotine. Sayazi i-guillotine, i-guillotine le uswa ebutcher. Bafaka inhloko yakho, bathi yizinto ebezenzakala every day. But this little horn, it would blaspheme the God of heaven. But this little horn, it even claimed to be God. But this little horn, it would reign for 1,260 days. But masifunda this prophet saka Daniel chapter 7, but it will rule for a time, na iphatho enye important. But this little horn, it will rule for a time, times, and half a time. Nizwile ngithini ne? It will rule for a what? For a time and what? Times and what? And then half a time. So asilungiseni le part le. Maya ku Revelation chapter 14, that same verse, they explain about it will be 42 months. Maya somewhere again with Revelation, they explain a little verse about 1,260 days. But Tina, asilungiseni lo time, times, and half a time. I think ixesha lama calculator ngoku kuthaphuma. Time is 1 year. Time is 1 year, ne? If time is 1 year, time is about how many years? 2 years. Then half a time is about how many years? Half a year. So it means it's 1 plus 2 plus half. Answer 1 plus 2 plus half. Mam Sister Tanda, 3.5. 3.5 years, ne? Then says we principle of explaining a prophecy. City a day is like a what in prophecy? A year. So she calculated how many years ngoku? 3.5 what? 3.5 years. Unyaka una how many months? 12 months, ne? Yeah. So ngifuna calculate lo time and times and half a time prophetically ukuthi uzosipha how many days, how many years. Sisase sonke brother Ngosh. Yaphumi answer. Yaphumi answer Sister Yonel. Yaphumi answer. Ithi malini how much? 1,260 years. Sonke sifumana 1,260 years. Abanye bafumana 144,000. Ufumana ubani? Ufumana 1260. Ufumana 1260 now that. Okay, it is ngcono simelele group. I think half a time, half a year, ne? Yeah. Okay, so let beast lay this little horn which came out from the 10 horns after plucking out the other 3. But it started to rule from year AD 538 until AD 1798. Then Mount is 1798 minus 538 uzofumana 1,260. 260 years. Yavela nekancinci. Yeah. Mara ke yabo le ama numbers ayikho that important kakhulu for today. But le ama numbers izosiprotecta kakhulu masifika ku Daniel chapter 8 verse 14. Because if Daniel chapter 8 verse 14 singena background ka Daniel chapter 7, then it means Seventh-day Adventist Church is not the right church of God. Actually, ngilidela to that point yokuthi ama calculations wethu abe accurate, abe precise, so that mawuthetha ngenkonzo ukuthi inkonzo yami isuka pha ivela pha then wazi ukuthi kwenzakalani. Nali verse eli1 ngifuna siconcentrate ku verse 25 ithi, and he khona manje sokuthethwa nga this little horn, but and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. But this little horn, it will think to change what? Times and laws. But in AD 321, Constantine Pope, what? From now, ngeke kusa observe the Sabbath day. But ngoku sokuza observe what? The first day of the week. Actually, I started at that time in AD 321. Before that, bonke abantu they were worshiping on Saturday. Everyone was worshiping on Sabbath. But to AD, Pope Constantine, what? I can change this thing. But he think to change times and laws. Na iphathi ye laws ke ayichangeile ne. Abubana bayaziyo catechism. Ubani una unaliona? Okay, ubani uyazi catechism? Ubani uyazi catechism? Okay, catechism thina apha ku baptismal class before siyobhapathiswa sifunda ama 28 fundamental beliefs ne. Fundamental belief number 1 to number 28. Today ke ku baptismal class besifunda nge the 10 commandments. So ama 10 commandments siwafundile according to the Bible ukuthi the first commandment it, the second commandment it, the third. A Roman Catholic Church, they also have a set of 10 commandments apuma from the Bible. Ngifuna explain the part leyo ukuthi he will even think to change times and laws. He tried to change times by changing the day of worship from Sabbath to Sunday, but he didn't win fully, ne? Because sikhona siyakhonza ngeSabbath. But on top of that, he even changed the law of God. The catechism, ama 10 commandments, as a Roman Catholic Church. If unexesha ungahamba uyozicheckela yona uthi 10 commandments catechism. The way benze ngakhona bayenze in such a ngendlela clever ongeke uyinotice. Ama 10 commandments ase eBhayibhelini nalawa ayuzwa eRoman Catholic Church awe ukuthi they are not the same. They are not the same. That's why actually masenza ilesson next week. Lesson next week I think ngizawisho ukuthi siuse King James version because mawuza ama versions khona ama verse angachazwa kahle understanding kahle. But again with the Roman Catholic Church it was not about that. He physically changed imithetho kaThixo. Ithini commandment number 4. Ithini commandment number 4. Besifunda today in the morning. Remember the Sabbath, ne? Sifunde today ku baptismal class. But ni awe ukuthi ithini commandment number 4 ku catechism. I commandment number 4 ku catechism ithi honor your father and your mother. Ithini commandment number ithi ngiyeke kancinci. Okay, ku catechism na ku Bible esilifunda every day. I 10 commandments that are different. Ithi ngokufundele I 10th commandment ku catechism then ufunde eBhayibhelini lethu. Catechism ithi Catechism commandment number 10 iti you shall not covet your neighbor's goods. Then commandment number 10 eBhayibhelini lethu lithi thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's good. Commandment number 9 again Catechism uti you shall not covet your neighbor's wife. Mara iBhayibheli lithi, do not let thyself lust after thy neighbor's wife, ne? Then it difference bayenze in the first 3 commandments. Commandment number 1, I am the Lord your God. Sayazi ne? Now, but I am the Lord your God. Commandment number 2, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain. Now, but thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain. Commandment number 3, bayikhuphile le. Ithini commandment number 3? Ungazenzeli imifanekiso ne? Yeah. So bayikhupha. Then bathi mabefika ku commandment number 9 and 10, but divide commandment number 9 into 2, bayenza ukuthi kube u9 no 10. Ubani umuntu bengayipick up leyo nto easily. It's difficult, ne? But uthi mawufunda iBhayibheli uthi no, we are reading the same thing. Sifunda into efanayo. So those are one of the things ezayenza uPope Constantine. Wathi iBhayibheli uzalichange, balichangeile iBhayibheli, ama-commandments eBhayibheli awafani nama-commandments eBhayibheli lakaThixo. They even think to change times. Bayichangeile isuku lokukhonza lakaThixo, bafaka usuku labo. Ngathi ngifunda i-newspaper last year, bathi ngoku niyazi mos ukuthi if ukhonza kule nkonzo le into abayenzayo, if wenze isono uya kuFather ne, yokucela i-forgiveness of sins kuFather, uFather akuxolele athi don't do it again. Ngezwa last year bathi no, abo Father lento sobafuna ukuyenza simple, sobafuna ukuyenza nge-WhatsApp or nge-phone. Uthethe no Father ku WhatsApp uthi Father I've done this, but uFather wathi no, it's not going to work like that. So bathi these people bathi they were blasphemous. Uthi maya ku New Testament utry ukufumana i-meaning yokuthi blasphemous, but as person who's blasphemous is the one who claims to be God or who claims to be equal with God. The only person who can forgive us our sins ubani? uThixo only. But bona they claim ukuthi they can also forgive sins. So izinto lezi ezazenzwa is the little horn. So but this little horn yaqala ukurula from 538 AD until 1798 AD. Actually ngo-17 ngifuna sicheke kahle abantu masefika ku-1798 ne. U-1798 akekho kude no-1844 ne. Useduze no-1844 ne. Sayi pick up kakuhle next week. La sizofunda khona. Actually lesson ya next week ke if you compare Daniel chapter 2 not Daniel chapter 7, a lesson important more than all the lessons ile next week eka Daniel chapter 8 verse 14. Ila sobona khona ukuthi kwenzakalani nivile ngoku ngithe from 538 AD until 1798 ne. Then siyazi mos ukuthi ibandla laseSabata liqale ngamuphi unyaka ne. Abaninzi bathi liqale nge-20 zaka May ne. Formally ngo-1863 ne. Abanye basho njalo sakhumula kushumela usister kwakuyimini yabantwana mos. Kwakuyi-20 zaka May. Wasicelela wathi i-7th day was formally formed nge-20 zaka May 1863. But siyabona ukuthi lo 1798 useduze no-1844 ne, useduze no-1863. Onali ivesi engakalifundi, ngeke ngajumpa fast. Ngizofunda uverse 8 ne. Uverse 8 uthi, I considered the horns, and behold, they came up among a little horn. Ile part beseyifundile ne. But verse 9 uthi, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Sithetha ngobani ngoku ifisicinga? Ithi ngiphini. Verse 9 uthi. Verse 9 after that second beast, after that little horn ne. Siphela kancinci story sayo. Uthi I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. his throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Sithetha ngobani ngoku? So after le beast iqeda ukumosha ne, it means uYesu Kristu uyabuya ne. Imina leyo nto. Niyakhumula le mistake engixolele yona. Le mistake engayenza ngo 2000. Ngathi last week ngoye 2000 mangifundisa uDaniel chapter 7 ngenza mistake. Ngithe mase starta today ngathi I'm going to repeat that same mistake. And when I say that mistake ngicela ni press button. Nithi beep. It's not right. So impendulo engiyifumanayo ngoku sakhumbula ku Daniel chapter 2 ne, after that those 10 toes, but it was a stone ne, but that stone yabetha kuphi ezantsi enyaweni ne, then that stone grew and grew and grew. Sathi that stone represent abani? Sathi represent ubani? I kingdom ka Yesu Christ ne, sathi represent Jesus Christ. So ngoku siceda ukuthetha nga this beast. Then stir out of this beast, kwaphuma that little horn. Then after that little horn yenze umsebenzi wayo. Then verses landelayo verse 9, I beheld till the thrones were cast down and the ancients of days did sit. Verse 10 uthi, a fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands and thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 and 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set and the books were opened. It's not what? It's not the second coming. Ne? It is what? It is judgment. Ne? Judgment kabani? Ka 1844. Ni aware ukuthi uWilliam Miller mistake yakhe yaqala apha. uWilliam Miller wayecinga ukuthi Jesus Christ is coming. Kanti uYesu Kristu, he is moving into the most holy place. So the minute but then judgment began. So mina the time but judgment began, ngacinga ukuthi uYesu Kristu sokabuyile uzoyenza ijudgment. The same problem enzakala ngoWilliam Miller. uWilliam Miller wacabanga ukuthi uYesu Kristu ijudgment uzoyenza apha emhlabeni, kanti ijudgment yoyenza phi? Ezulwini. So thina njengoba sizibiza i-Seventh Day Adventist Church, sibandla eliqale the time kuqala i-pre-Advent judgment ne, abanye bayibizani i-investigative judgment. I-investigative judgment istarte ngamuphi unyaka? Ngo 1844. Sengena kancinci nje ku chapter 8, but ke abantu abaninzi bayenza mistake apha. Mabefika ku Revelation chapter 7 from verse 10 to verse 14, mabethetha nge the white clothes, uvela ucinga uYesu ne, vele ucinga ukuthi uYesu no sakabuyile sisafare too much. Kanti uYesu Kristu akakagqibi. uYesu Kristu umuvela kwesinye istage ngoku, umuvela ku stage se pre-Advent judgment message. Khona manje siku investigative judgment ne, but then the books were opened. Zavulwa incwadi mayiqhubeka ithi, I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain and his body was destroyed and given to the burning flame. Verse 12, as concerning to the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. Verse 13, I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like a son of man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Only question? Okay.
So we just spoke about 1844 and then how we all began. But my issue, okay, my question now is that Tina sithe sizalwa yabe investigative judgment na.
Are we born?
Tina sithe sizalwa apha endlini. Like I'm asking like ewe. So that's my first question. Second one, xa bese sinesi study phaa endlini, one of the things that confuse me, ne? How we calculate thina, we use the Roman calendar most, because that's what we know, that's what sizelwe kukho yona. So how is the accuracy of what is in the Bible, how it's written and interpreted, and how we calculate it in?
Athi understand kakhulu second question. Second question athi ba use i-Roman calendar calculate i-prophecy, and thina use le principle 360 days, which is prophetically, and in a proof yokuthi we use Ezekiel chapter 4 verse 6, we use no Numbers 14 verse 34. Mina, to answer you ngathi I wouldn't even trust I calendar ya Roma. Because even if ungayicheka nangoku amanye ama calendars ama-Roma start Monday, amanye start Sunday, and siyazi ukuthi ama-Roma ivesi esilifundile bathe they will even think to change times. Not only times, but they'll also change the laws of God. So the best way to calculate this verse, prophecy, is to use the 1 day, 1 year principle. 24 hours, 7 days, 30 days. See use a principle. Follow-up question?
Once you are there, remember when you talk about the 7th month, according to what we know, Tina, when you talk of the 7th month, we talk about July. But according to the Bible, it's not July. So your 1 day necessarily may not be 1 day. Lo 1 day wait. How I'm asking is that while we are using the Bible, because we interpret the Bible based on what we know, because Tina sizelwe sisazi the Roman calendar lesithetha ngayo Sunday to Monday and August, January nandoni. Therefore, I just want to know, because that becomes the crux of my confusion when we do it at home, because inyanga it's different. And as you alluded earlier on, that when we were talking about the 17th day of the second month, I'm making an example. Paku Daniel 7.
Genesis.
Okay, was it Genesis? Okay. And then, okay, yeah, I see. It's the 17th day of the second month. And then, understanding yam, 17th day of the second month, mhlambu to mntanomncinci ohleli uza interpreter as indoba 17 kaFeb. But ndicela ke ngoku ube ngathi utitsha abantu abangazange bayive prophecy, that how do we then interpret it so that we don't deduce it to what we know based on the present calendar?
Problem yokuqala ke esibonayo ukuthi bayuza ba calculator wrong. For example, ngizabuza uMama Mnonophi, but I don't think uMama Mnonophi wabeke khona that time. Ithi ngigese engisuspect ukuthi beke khona. Ithi ngibuza uSiviwe ne. Usiviwe ne. Siviwe nge-31 zaka December ne. Ngo 5 to 12. Bowenza ntoni? Bengicela simpheni chance ne. Siviwe nge-31 zaka December ne. Ngo 5 to 12. Bowenza ntoni? You don't remember? Ubani okhumbulayo? Bowenza ntoni nge-31 zaka December ngo 5 to 12? Huh? Countdown ne. Ithi ngikuphendule ke mama Luphondwana. The way labantu bas confuse ngakhona, according to the Roman calendar, the day starts at midnight. That's why siphuma ngo 12 midnight. It's happy. Kanti ilanga liqala nini? At sunset. So can you really rely on that calendar? You can't. So that's why si rely on prophecy, si rely on Bible, uthi Bible lona li explain njani. The minute uzo rely on Roman calendar, but Julian calendar, sometimes called Julian calendar. There's also another one. So the best thing to rely on, just by a day, so benzi mistake is 6 hours. they're out by 6 hours. Tina, our day started sunset. I think isabata litselzophela mele sivale manje. Isabata liphela 5:25 PE today. But according to bona, bazacela ukuthi imini iqala ngo-12 midnight. Yabona nje soba out nga 6 hours. What more when they count in hours? Bazoba out nga 30 hours, 40 hours. Sizobona mase counter lo 0 wa next week ukuthi ba out kangakanani. I think uphendulekile. Right? But again, I'm trying to say, it's starting from that day. If they can count that day wrong, what more when they have to count a week, when they have to count a month, when they have to count 1,260 years? So it means the formula, it will be completely out. So tina si use biblically. Isho kanjalo Numbers 14 verse 34, no Ezekiel 4 verse 6, no Ellen G. White we explain kanjalo ukuthi imini icounteka kanjani. Ngathi ufuna ukugcwalisa uTata.
Yebo mdala, I just want to also emphasize ukuthi let's not forget when you go through history yethu, as we were looking at 1844 to October 22 uvele kanjani the movement ka 10th day of the 7th, the 10th day of the 7th month, la cleansing of a sanctuary benzeka khona. In a nutshell, as kumbulu ukuthi there is something called a Jewish calendar. So the month okhulunywa ngayo in the context of the Bible, the amaJuda calendar system, 10th day of the 7th month, usifikela ku October 22.
Ngabe khona any question before senza test, small test. Bengicela before sivala sibuyeleni kule question enganibuza yona last week. So today ngiyenza nje a bit more difficult. Last week iverse savala ngalo lali ku Revelation chapter 8 verse 1. Iti, when he hath opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven for almost half an hour. Sathi mas calculator last week siyi class. Safumanisa ukuthi lo half an hour okuthethwa ngayo u7.5 days. And then there was a reason babhale almost half an hour. Kwamanye ama versions bathi about half an hour. So ngithi today since some students afundile ngifuna lo almost simkhuphe nalo about simkhuphe simenze literal. For example, ngifuna le verse ithi then there was silence in heaven for 26 minutes, for example. Now understand the question. Ni repeat the question. Last week, senza test ngo Revelation 8 verse 1. Othi there was silence in heaven for almost half an hour. Ne? Ngathi ngifuna si calculate lo half an hour prophetically. Sifumanise ukuthi that half an hour, what does it really mean? Then sawathatha ama calculators, i-answer safumana ukuthi lo half an hour, it means 7.5 days. Then last week ngathi there is no such a thing as 7.5 days. It's one full day. So a question as of today, going back to that verse, how can you get a literal answer? Ukhuphe almost, ukhuphe about. Then the answer yakho must say, when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven for 23 minutes, for example. Angifuna almost or about. Then I understand the question.
Half an hour mdala, it's a literal week. As embrace, it's a literal week. We converter, 1 day, 1 year prophecy. So it's a week. Let's embrace the week. Half an hour is a week, literally.
If ufunda la verse kakuhle ne, lithi about. Kwamanye ama versions ithi almost. It's like it's almost, it's half a day. Half an hour, it's almost. So today, class ngifuna limkhuphe lo almost. Lumkhuphe no about. Lingicela ukuthi there was silence in heaven for 23 minutes or for 22 minutes? Is really question nethanda? Is really question brother Ramantseng? Ngibona umdala wase Khabika maybe angasinceda ngale question. Okay, it is yesenze imethe encinci ne. You don't want to try it, brother. Oh, you are not here. But the question, even if you are not here last week, it's still the same question today. Huh? Okay, last week, Saturday 360, ne? Sat divide on 24, ne? Satolu 15, ne? Then Satma Satolu 15, but to half an hour, but it divided by 2. Then Batolu 7.5. Then it was almost 7.5 days. So some started to the nearest, Satatu 7. So that's how we got to 7. No, actually, 7 watola babuknene no brother Mhlanga. So when expect to babuknene today, no mamhoji, bazasipa le answer. Yoguti, if you explain it literally, there was silence in heaven for 22 minutes, 23 minutes, 24 minutes, 25, 26. But again, you need the calculator. But again, ngobi ingqondo sezidiniwe. Answer yakhona ngizani pha next week. Ukuthi literally mina ngifuma it, for example, what is 15 multiplied by 0.5? Brother 40, 15 multiplied by 0.5? 7.5, ne? So iklu ke le. Iklu. Ithi ngibuza u 20 minutes. Mam calculator in terms of zeros. 20 minutes is how it's point how many in terms of decimal. Siyazi mos half an hour ne 0.5 ne. 0.5 of an hour. 45 minutes 0.1 of an hour. 0.75 ne. Was a right, brother Ford. But you're going to see again. But the answer again. The answer ends on the payona next week. It's 6.9. 6.9. So it means out 0.1 uguti iti 7 days. But again, science next week. But it clue. We use our abo comma 7.5, we use our abo comma 5, we use our abo comma 2, then we simple ukuthi answer uyifumana. Actually, yabona abo William Miller, the time ba calculator le 2300 days. Wayengekho Ellen G. White. But they managed to get the 2300 days ukuthi ustarta ngo this year. Upela this year, they managed to calculate the half a week, they managed to calculate the 70 weeks, they managed to calculate the birth of Jesus Christ without any help. Yaga Ellen G. White. I think why not calculated? Yeah, I think why not calculate. But in Zanipi answer next week, Masenza Daniel chapter 8, not Daniel chapter 9. Utiko asibusise sonke. Yesu Kristu amen. Actually, into you notice last week ikona question eyaphuma ku Facebook. If ninga check Facebook yenkonzo, ngathi mangiqeda ukwenza study sa last week, khona question eyaphuma. But question yakhona beyibuza ngo Daniel chapter 8, asikafiki ku Daniel chapter 8. Asikafiki na ku Daniel chapter 9. Ningazicheckele emafonini nifunde leyo question. But maybe next week masenzo Daniel chapter 8, not Daniel chapter 9. Lo muntu bambizi anonymous what? Anonymous fan ne? Wabuza leyo question. Bengicela ni checkeni kuma phones enu today kwi Western Suburbs page. Maybe ningakwazi ukuyiphendula. But ke lo brother wabuza le question. Maybe singamphendula next week. Okwangoku asikamphenduli because asikafake.
Lithini ibandla Amen. Thank you, Elder Mafuze. Ngathi inkosi ingakupha more from your resources and continue to lead the series of lessons. Siyabonga kakhulu. Sister uqoqile onke amaculo la uhambe wathatha. Kodwa number 63 we can sing it. Number 63. Sizocela after ma'am lapha emuva Mrs. Nyingwashi ungasivalela prayer please after we done 63 oh okay oh yes utakayazi sisilwandisa riba give us your choice. 62. Next week 63. Before umem athandaze, email address ka Elder Mafuze is Mandla dot mandla.mafuze@gmail. 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 gmail.com. gmail.com. Thank you for that. And the prayer will then take us straight into the week. Angeke saba na any opening of verse, closing verse 3 and all. Mthandazo ka mem will take us into the week. Enkosi.
Basicemeleni bawethu onothando hlala ekhaya ezulwini sabulela Thixo ngesisipho sesabatha osiphe sona Nkosi evekini enobude wena wenza umsindleko woba sikwazi ubuya ke Nkosi sohlaziya imiphefumulo yethu ngelithuba ke Thixo siyayisonga isabatha oluhlobo siza kuwe ke Thixo sizawucela kwakhona usikhaphe kule veki sathi siyiqala sicela ube ngithixo wethu ke Nkosi ngoba iveki intsha nongendawo usilindile nemingeni emitsha wena unguThixo ke siphe amandla amatsha to face the week Nkosi anga esikufunde namhlanje kule sabatha yakho singakushinga semva xa singena kule veki anga kungasithwala ke Nkosi usukela kwisabathi kuzotsho ngoku kwistudy sasemva kwemini sibone ke Thixo amidst ibeast ke Nkosi ethandekayo nayo yonke into ebesifundisiwe namhlanje uYesu ebethelelwe emnqamlezweni angathixo singafuna uba ngamaKristu angcono ngenxa ke Nkosi yokwenzelwa nguwe lenyoba yobasazi ngawe ngakumbi nangakumbi sixolele ke Nkosi ukona kwethu phambi kobuso bakho uncede ke Thixo singaphindeli nakube sesenzile izono ngasemva sihambise ke Nkosi emendweni wakho usikhaphele ke Thixo thandekayo de siyongena ebukumkaneni bakho ngoKristu siyathandaza amen